Hello guys, I'm Pickles Parker and today I will be giving you my initial reaction to the Doctor Who Christmas special Twice Upon a Time. Enjoy! Just is more my first thoughts on it, more of a Ramsey video. I will be doing a proper, more structured review like I usually do for Doctor Who episodes in a couple of days. But yeah, so Twice Upon a Time, I'll probably just go on about how I felt going into this episode. I was actually pretty excited. Now, Peter Capaldi is nowhere near my favourite Doctor, although I do quite like his Doctor, and I've developed a lot of respect for his Doctor over the past year. And then I was really excited to see his interactions with David Bradley as the first Doctor. I really wanted to see the interactions they would go to. I really wanted to see their interactions. The whole first Doctor being convinced to regenerate. I wanted to see a threat there that made the 12th Doctor more vulnerable, because as he was in mid-regeneration, if he was injured, he would die. He could not regenerate. So that would have been a very good threat element to it. And I really wanted to see how, I wanted them to tie up the whole Day of the Doctor storyline. And what we got was just nothing. I mean, just let's be honest, I felt nothing during this episode. I mean, it started out good. I really enjoyed how it started. It intrigued me because we seen I really liked the fade in from the 10th planet to full colour 16:9. That was really good, although we did see it in the trailer. That was actually a really nice touch. I really liked that. I really liked him walking out into snow, just an extended bit of what we've seen at the end of the Doctor Falls. And I really like after the title sequence we see Mark Gatiss' character and all that, and that's good. And I think it's actually really good. I think that's all good. I think it's only really till when we see the children knee clip, and that's all good. I think it's only when we see Bill that I think this episode starts to go downhill for me. Why she's back, I don't know, and I don't want her to be back because she got such a good send-off in the Doctor Falls, and she's just irritating in this. I don't mind if she come back, and I guess the way she's in it is kind of explained and justified, but I mean, what she's given to work with is not very good, and I think her performance is really irritating. I think it's not one of Pearl Mackie's best performances. I just find it's Bill's most irritating performance. I just couldn't stand her in this episode, whereas I think she's been pretty good in her other appearances. And I think it's about here where the story goes downhill. We get more sexist remarks. It looks like there's going to be a threat there, and then we go to the bigger villain guard where we see Rusty again, and yeah, that came out of nowhere. That whole Rusty cameo, I didn't see that coming, if I'm honest. But yeah, Rusty. I don't really know why he was in here, because it didn't really show a whole development from his character since Into the Dalek. It just, oh yeah, he's still here killing Daleks, but why hasn't he been pursued by the Daleks in other Dalek stories since Into the Daleks, like the Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar? Surely Rusty would have been pursuing Davros, but no, he wasn't. Trying to kill the Creator as he was dying. No, that never happened, so Rusty's just here. I admit it was cool to see the rogue mutants just there, clinging onto Mark Gatiss's face, and the confrontation was decent. But then when he just finds that it's not an evil plan, which it's a okay thing to do in like a regular episode, but you don't do that in a Doctor's last story, because that just eliminates all the threat from this episode and makes it irrelevant, because he could just change at the start and nothing would make any difference, because it's not like he has to go on a big battle and at the end he regenerates. No, he's already regenerated, but surely you should have this conflict to battle for his regeneration. But no, it's just an extra little adventure that we didn't need to see. Yeah, and then the whole reveal that Bill is the glass person. I mean, I kind of seen it coming, but I thought she was going to be evil, which was a nice twist, because you thought she was going to be the companion in this episode, and if she turned out to be good, it would be a nice twist. But oh no, she just turned out to be good, and oh no, she is Bill. But the episode keeps on trying to convince you that she is Bill, but no, she's not Bill, but she is Bill. Like, should we be feeling any emotion for this character? Should we be caring for her? Because she is Bill, but no, she's not Bill, but then she is still Bill? No, she's not Bill. It's just like, make up your mind, is she Bill or is she not Bill? And then the episode goes nowhere. You thought they had to I thought when they're going to Villain Guard and they were gonna get into a dark database and they're gonna find out who they were, and then they're gonna go on a chase through time and space. They're gonna try and stop them from ever being created, or they're gonna go back there and confront them after finding out who they were with a better advantage of how to stop them. But no, it's just irrelevant. And then ultimately all it is they just let Margatus go. And the armistice thing is cool. I love that armistice scene. It was a really nice inclusion of the whole Christmas Day armistice. And I'm quite happy that they didn't make the Doctor create it, that it's just a natural thing, because I think that would have devalued the whole historical accuracy of it if the Doctor just did it. But no, it's that humans can be kind, and on this day, no other day, but this day, they stopped fighting and they just played a game of football because it was Christmas. And I really liked that. I think there was a missed opportunity, because Mark Gatiss was saying when he goes back that the German soldier was speaking German, and I think it could have been cool if they finally understood each other, because Mark Gatiss had been in the TARDIS and I thought that would have been cool, but that never happened. But no, I like the Christmas Day armistice. But then the whole way they just depart, I just don't get it. But they hadn't had enough interaction time as it is, but then David Brandley just walks off. And he's supposed to, after that, go on from not wanting to change, because I don't really see how the 12th Doctor did anything to justify to change. I mean, no offence, but in the Day of the Doctor, the War Doctor gives some incentive to want to destroy Gallifrey, because these are the men he will become, and they've shown that he does become the Doctor again. But in this, it's just not there. There's not enough development there. He just goes off, and I do like how it fades out back into the 10th planet as Hartnell regenerates into Troughton. I wouldn't have liked that if they would have did that, but in colour and 16:9, and got someone like Reese Shearsmith back to be Troughton. I'm much happier that they faded back out to the original footage, which was a really nice touch. I really did like that. And then the 12th Doctor gets a visit back from Bill, and then we see Blue and Clara again. Now honestly, why did we see Clara? And then Moffat literally undoes everything he did in Hellbent, but the Doctor now remembers Clara. And that has got to be the worst green screen I've ever seen for Clara. It's clear that she's clearly not there. So I don't really get that, why they wouldn't have had her in there, because it just looks terrible. And then we get Nardole back again. And I would have actually preferred it if Nardole was in this episode rather than Bill, because I think he would have worked a lot better. And then obviously the Doctor decides he must go, and he regenerates. And yeah, that scene, scene. Now, I'm actually not a fan of that scene. I just think it's so boring, and there's no heart to it, there's no emotion in there. Because even if a doctor isn't my favourite, if it's a good scene, you'll still get emotional. Like, obviously I got incredibly emotional at Matt Smith's scene in Tom the Doctor because he was my favourite doctor, but also because that scene is written so well. And how the End of Time scene is done, I think also makes you feel emotional whether you like the 10th Doctor or not. And so does Eccleston's scene. Whether you like Eccleston's Doctor or not, that still gets you up. But you just feel nothing in Capaldi's scene. Because the speech just, it doesn't really work. Well, yeah, he's telling him to his next to the next Doctor. Which I don't really see, because the things he's saying doesn't really work. And then I just think he's saying things, you're like, yeah, stop there. But no, he's still rambling on. I just don't think this speech meant anything. And I would have much rather that Capaldi just went at the end of Doctor Falls, because I thought the moment was much more suitable for his Doctor. I think it was more of a beautiful moment. And I just think it worked. I think you felt emotion in that scene, and it had Capaldi regenerated there. I think it just would have been so much better. And this episode just didn't do him any favours, and the writing didn't either. I just felt that with his last line, Doctor, I let you go. No, that's not a good last line. And I just felt nothing in the scene. I thought the writing was incredibly poor from Moffat. You should have given Capaldi, a lifelong Doctor Who fan, the ending that he deserved. Because although I did not like Capaldi's Doctor in the beginning, I slowly warmed to him, and I gained some respect for him. I actually enjoyed his Doctor, even in the in his earlier series when I didn't like him so much. On first watching back, I really enjoyed his Doctor, and I feel like he deserved better. Because no matter what you think of Capaldi's Doctor, whether you love him or you hate him, he deserves a good send off, regardless. And I just think he didn't. And I think it's possibly on the level of Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy for the treatment they got for their endings as the Doctor, if I'm honest. I think it's down there with one of the worst. So I really don't think his ending was treated well. I think that the story was nothing. It went nowhere. Opportunities were wasted. The first Doctor was wasted. And their interactions were wasted. The whole villains were wasted. That there was no plot. And there's just the whole regeneration thing was wasted. And I think had they got a Matt Smith cameo, and he would have got the first Doctor and the 12th Doctor to go and save Gallifrey, and that would have been technically his first and his last ever thing he did as a Doctor, and would have been so good, so much better, and it would have tied up Moffat's era beautifully as well. I just think, why didn't they do that? I just don't get it. I just feel that this episode wasn't needed. I would much rather have him left at the Doctor Falls, because not that I didn't want to see more of Capaldi's Doctor, but just because I just felt that was so much better suited ending for his character. And I think his whole era, Capaldi's been given crap scripts, and I just think that he's completely been wasted as the Doctor. Because all the potential Capaldi he's a brilliant actor, and all the potential that he had as a Doctor, and he's just been shafted. I mean, like, look at Series 8, how many good stories can you think of? 2, 3, maybe 4, out of a series of 12? And I just think the scripts have been utterly terrible in Capaldi's run. And although his performances have been utterly stellar right the way through, I can't think of a story where his performance hasn't been stellar. I just think that his scripts have been terrible, and it's a very wasted opportunity, because he could have been one of the best Doctors, and it could have been one of the best eras of the show, a return to form. But it just wasn't. And that's on Moffat's part, because he's ruined Capaldi's era as the Doctor. And I just feel that he got a send-off like this. And it's not even the episode could be bad, yes. but I just feel the scene, it was just nothing. And I just feel really sorry for Capaldi, if I'm honest, because he deserved better, and so did we. But anyway, yeah, we get the Jodie Whittaker, and I again feel nothing for a doctor. I must say the scene looks absolutely fantastic, because you look at this, how many times have we had the doctor regenerating, and the doctor is completely knows nothing, and the TARDIS is crashing. Like every single time in the new series, it has never looked as brilliant as this. Like, especially as the regeneration, you just see Capaldi's eyes go into her eyes, and then the ring drops off her hand, and you have the smoke, and you see her from behind, and then she just looks into the TARDIS scanner and sees her face. I love how that's done. That is something completely different that we haven't seen before. I love it. So brilliantly directed. And then she just sees it, and she has 2 lines of dialogue. Oh, brilliant. And then she just goes and flies, and I love just how beautifully directed this TARDIS crashing scene. So obviously it is very similar to the End of Time, but it looks so much better here, that you just see the TARDIS shake out, and you see the bookcases on the top floor just go smashing down, all the books falling out, and you see the TARDIS time rotor all just burn up and crack, and it just looks so good, and the TARDIS falling out, and she's like holding onto a console, it's tipped upside down, and all the bookcases and everything is gassy, is all falling out of the TARDIS, and then she just falls out into it. I think it's very intriguing. We've never had it to this extent before. Obviously the 10th Doctor's TARDIS was wrecked. This is truly no going back with this TARDIS. And I just think that it was so beautifully directed, and it has kind of got me intrigued for a series that I wasn't that excited for, if I'm honest. But it has got me intrigued to how this will happen. And I don't have an opinion on her Doctor, because I don't see how you can. You can't love her, you can't hate her. She has 2 words. But I think just basically the direction and how it looks is stellar. So what do I think of this episode? I wanted to love it. I thought I was going to love it. I thought it was going to be good. It just wasn't. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just there. It's the worst regeneration story of the new series. And while it's not terrible, it's not like, it's not New Earth kind of terrible, but it's just there. And I think it's just a disservice to Capaldi, and it's just and the first Doctor with David Bradley's sexist comments. And it's just a disservice to the Peter Capaldi. And he deserved so much better for the episode and the scene. The episode had no plot, it started off good and went nowhere. By the end you're just like, oh, okay. Yeah. And I just feel like the only reason it will be rubbish is because David Bradley was in it, as the first Doctor made a return. Had he not been in it, I think it would have been very much forgotten about. And we can all just think that Capaldi regenerated at the end of the Doctor fought. I've never been more meh at an episode than this. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hello, Garen Adams. So, the Edge of Destruction. I'm kind of split on this, because while I love the Brink of Disaster, I'm undecided on the Edge of Destruction. The Edge of Destruction is boring, in my opinion. I feel like it's kind of a classic version of the 10th Doctor story Midnight, but not done as good, with fewer characters and just setting the TARDIS. They don't explore the TARDIS, and I don't think that acting is that good apart from Hartnell. I think the only intriguing thing is the doors opening, but nothing other than that really intrigues me about it. You know, the Brink of Disaster is another story. I love the friction and the ties between the characters. The acting is outstanding from
every single one of the original TARDIS team, especially Hartnell, and even though the way it is resolved is a bit of a cop-out, I just love the Doctor's relationship with all of the characters. I think it's a really nice character piece on this whole TARDIS team and the relationship. I love the end as well, how you see the Doctors actually formed a really nice relationship with Barbara and Ian and made up for what they did. So while I don't really like the edge of destruction, I do love the brink of disaster. I'm gonna give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. See you guys next week.